You're listening to the Abra Money 3.0 show, your guide to the future of all things money. Today's podcast is all about Tron, a decentralized blockchain platform that allows developers to deploy their own decentralized applications. Joining us to discuss this project is the one and only Justin Sun, founder and CEO of Tron. He and Abra's CEO Bill Barhydt cover a lot of ground in this conversation. Everything from how Justin got the idea for Tron, the number of developers working on the protocol, and some of the dApps running on it, to why he's such a huge believer of the token economy, and some of his thoughts on what blockchain projects he thinks will get support and adoption in China. But before jumping in, remember, the information presented in this podcast is provided for informational purposes only and should not be used or construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of an offer to buy any of the financial assets discussed. Any opinions expressed herein are subject to change. Neither Abra nor any of the participants in this podcast make any representation as to the suitability or appropriateness of these financial assets for individual investors. And with that out of the way, on to the show.
Hi, everyone. Bill Barhydt here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Abra's Money 3.0. Joining me today is the infamous Justin Sun from Tron. Justin, welcome to Money 3.0.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you. Good to have you on. It's been a long time coming. I'm really excited about our conversation. Let me just kind of forego the intros and just jump right into I think the question that's on everyone's mind. When does crypto become useful? What do we have to do as a community as well to make crypto useful for everyone, whether they know it's there or not?
I think there is several factors affects on the crypto user case. First of all, I think is the fiat on ramp. So I think lots of the companies already doing this. For example, like a Circle, they're doing USDC. Tether, they're doing USDT, and Poloniex, Binance. Like all these kind of the companies is trying really hard to help on the fiat on ramp. So that's why this I think is one of the most important things, because if users can easier to buy the crypto in the first place, it's very hard for them to get into our industry. I think this is the first one, and second one I think is the infrastructure. So we need to have like a better infrastructure for the crypto currency. For example, right now we have several collaboration also doing this. First of all, we collaborate with Samsung. Have the Samsung device embedded with Tron blockchain. So it's make a Samsung device available to everyone. So you don't need to install a blockchain wallet anymore. So you can. Right now, Samsung support 4 blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Clayton, and Tron. So I think that's also very important, since Samsung is right now the largest Android phone in the world. I think if imagine if like Samsung, Apple, Huawei, and Xiaomi, and like Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, like all the phone manufacturers embrace the blockchain, it will definitely bring like more people into our industry too.
But what's the killer app, or what is the application that you think is going to drive adoption for people to even care about fiat on ramps, having secure elements on a Samsung smartphone? Why is my mother going to care?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I think there's two things I think is very interesting in our industry. First of all, still I think is the dApp. So after the Samsung and all the phone manufacturer embrace the blockchain infrastructure, we can see more and more apps they can use like blockchain as one of the their currency or payment solution, or even there have lots of the interesting change. For example, they can change the tokens in their games into the real tokens, right? So you can even trade with those tokens. So and I think this is a very big change, because before that we only have like a very small developers, right? Like CryptoKitties. They are like very small developers, but in the future we can expect it. We can have EA, or like Supercell, those like very large game developers, they will move to the blockchain. So that's why first thing I think is very interesting. Will bring a lot of the people on board. Second thing, definitely, I think is one of the job we are doing right now. So we integrate the Tron blockchain with the BitTorrent protocol. So lots of the people will start to use because BitTorrent has like more than 100 million active users amounts. So they can easier to download the files with incentive. Also, they can pay the tokens to accelerate their downloading. So that's also something I think is a very has a very large user base, and at the same time it used the blockchain to accelerate the process.
Can you expand on that? So let's take a step back, because I don't think everyone knows that effectively Tron owns BitTorrent.
Yeah.
So one, can you explain why you did that?
Yeah, sure. Totally.
The use case around being able to provide more seeds, effectively, potentially in the future for Tron, I assume. Could you explain that as well? And I think that's a very interesting use case.
Yeah, totally. So first of all, I will introduce how like BitTorrent works. So the traditional downloading system is there is a file, so everybody go to download the files, right? So the more people download the file, actually the speed gets slower because people split the bandwidth and split the resources. So BitTorrent actually is the first like a P2P user case even before the Bitcoin. So BitTorrent, the mechanism is very simple. So like everybody joined the network, they got a piece of the files, and they upload and download the files with each other. So that's actually changed the entire mechanism to. So basically, this is how like BitTorrent work in the first place. So we can bear in mind is like the more people get on board, actually the protocol get faster. But BitTorrent has been like running okay for almost like 15 years. But there also has like a problem inside of the BitTorrent protocol. It's because all the BitTorrent users, when they join the protocol, right now they just upload the files in the goodwill. So in the beginning, of course, they join the protocol by uploading the files because they can download the files, right? After they finish downloading the files, they only upload the files for free, basically, in the goodwill. So that's why there is lots of the torrent clients even help the user to shut down the upload once they finish the downloading, because they don't want to waste their bandwidth, right? So that's why we want to introduce the cryptocurrency into the BitTorrent protocol. So we invented a token called BTT. So if you can download the files, you can earn BTT from other people. And then if you have BTT, you can spend the BTT to accelerate the downloading process. So that's why I think this is a very good user case, because lots of the people these days can just open their computer, upload the files, and they can earn money, right? So and of course, it will make the BitTorrent protocol more available to everybody in the world, because there is more seeds actually. Because these days, for example, only the toppest files has the seeds, because lots of the people download it and they uploading, right? And lots of the files, if less people care about it, most of the people will exit from the protocol, and there is no people uploading the files at all. So that's why I think once we introduce this kind of incentive mechanism into the BitTorrent protocol, we'll definitely, on one hand, make the BitTorrent protocol stronger, and on another hand, introduce a very large blockchain user case, easier for everyone. So I also want to emphasize why blockchain is better than other channels, because the piece of the files is so small. If you want to use like a traditional fiat channel to pay other person, it is impossible, because every transaction they're gonna cost lots of the money. But with right now the Tron blockchain is merely like zero trading fee, zero transaction fee on that. So that's also the lower fee of the cryptocurrency and the blockchain really helped to build this kind of the new mechanism.
So what happens in that use case if there's 100 million people using BTT on Tron? Can it still support microtransactions to deal with these, let's call them congestion charges?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
First of all, I think right now we are in a test mode. So right now we are building the whole infrastructure and release to our limited amount of users to see if we can take the traffic. And then on the other hand, we have several like sidechain solutions. So basically the idea is very simple. So we will deposit a certain amount of the BTT and TRX on the sidechain. So the sidechain will process on its own, and after this, they will upload the results into the main chain. So that's how we try to scale our blockchain to meet the requirements of the BitTorrent protocol.
Got it. So there's a lot of talk right now about Ethereum's plans for scalability, proof of stake versus proof of work.
Yeah.
I'm curious, where do you come out on that? And how does that relate to how people should think about why Tron is better?
Yeah, sure, totally. So first of all, I think both like POW, POS, depots, like all the different kind of the consensus mechanism, all have their advantage and disadvantage. So that's why I think like everybody actually has their position. So I'm not like prefer, for example, like proof of stake rather than like proof of work, right? This is the first point. And then the second point, I think like all the protocol and internet product is all about like serve the users, provide a better user experience. So for like since the beginning, like years Tron was founded, we always focusing on improve the user experience of the blockchain. So that's why after like a year development, Tron right now is like one of the most like popular DApp blockchain in the world, because we are always trying to provide better transaction experience and user experience. I can give you several examples. First of all, we are like much faster than Ethereum. So lots of the blockchain, if they want to use the faster blockchain, or if they want to use dApps, if they want to use the blockchain like freely, they can use Tron rather than Ethereum. And then the second thing is Ethereum has a very high gas fee, so it's very hard for you to use the Ethereum blockchain in the first place. But for Tron, all the gas fee is free. So we give all the cost to the developers, so the developers can pay for all their users' gas fee. So that's why the users, they don't even know they need to pay the gas fee in the Tron blockchain, because the developer take all the cost. And then third thing, of course, is we building like a very good infrastructure for the developers in our whole ecosystem. So we have like a very good dedicated team serve the like the developers. So most of the Ethereum developers, they can't get support from the foundation and also Ethereum itself. But we have a very dedicated team. They will educate the developers and educate like everyone how to use the blockchain and help them to bring them on board.
Yep. Do you think that in China it will be open, decentralized projects like Tron that ultimately get adopted, or do you think that it will need to be more permission models, like what the government's talked about, or like the Libra model, where you can basically roll back a transaction that will ultimately get the support in China?
Yeah. I think first of all, eventually, I think China will embrace the blockchain industry. Because, for example, like recently, like Xinhua News, like one of the most official government news channel in China, they publicly like an article say about blockchain actually is the first user case of the blockchain. So Bitcoin is the first case of the user case of the blockchain. So that's why I think eventually for those permissionless blockchain, as we say, like a public chain these days, will eventually get adopted in China. That's first of my opinion. But second, I think definitely from beginning, China will more advocate for those alliance chain. So so-called alliance chain, which means is you need to get a permission to use those blockchain. So it's more like a giant enterprise. They join each other, and then they form like a blockchain, more like this. So for example, like the newly introduced Chinese government digital currency DCEP released some detail of their blockchain. So you can see it's fully invited. So it's just like Libra. So the nodes need to be invited by the Central Bank of China. So they invited, for example, like Ali, Tencent, and also other commercial banks as well. So I think they will first go with the alliance chain first, and then gradually like move to the public chain.
Are they forking an existing project to do that, to your knowledge, or is it something they developed in-house within the government?
Oh, sure. First of all, I don't think they. I think eventually they're gonna use one of the solutions in our industry. So basically fork, but they haven't like introduced the detail of their blockchain yet. So it's not like open source. You can't check it.
Maybe Tron.
Yeah, I think so, because one of the reason depots actually is a perfect one of the perfect example for the government if they want to use like introduce the nodes and also the same time have like high scalability. Actually, the consensus mechanism we use like depots is actually one of the I mean the best solution actually for the government, because the only alteration you need to do is you just change the election part, right? So right now the Tron super representative is elected by community. You just eliminate the election part, so just make those nodes like to be get permission from the government, so you can done with the whole blockchain.
Do you have? Let's come back to Tron. I could talk about China all day. So
Yeah.
fascinating. Do you know how many developers are working on using Tron today in some way?
Yeah, sure. Totally. I want to introduce like some of the biggest user case right now running on blockchain. First of all, we got like very dedicated team. They work on product called Wink.org. I encourage everyone to check on the website. So wink.org. So this is basically a gaming platform. There is lots of the game running on the platform. It's actually very fascinating. I play like the Wink.org all the time to check if they introduce like any new games on the blockchain. I think this is very interesting. So definitely I encourage everyone to check on that.
Now, do those games generally use the Tron token, or do they create their own tokens?
They have their own tokens, but the called Win, WIN. But the Win token is more like a Binance BNB token. So it's more like the revenue they earn and the profit they earn on the platform. They distributed or burn the token. So but right now still they originally they support the Tron blockchain and the BTT, TRX, USDT, and on Tron. So those tokens. And right now they also are moving on support Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum as well. So they are aiming to be like one of the biggest gaming platform on the blockchain. I think this is the first one. It's a very good user case. And of course, right now Tron already have more than 650 dApps running on Tron blockchain. Wink is right now the largest on the Tron blockchain. But still, I think we have other blockchains, other dApps as well. They are running like very good on Tron blockchain. Yeah. And then the second thing I want to introduce is USDT on Tron. So it's just start in very lately. So just like start from like December. So it's just a month ago. Start from like less than $90 million. But right now we already have $8 million right now issue on the Tron blockchain. So this is right now the third largest stable coin in the whole industry. I think that's also a very good user case. Lots of the people use the Tron blockchain to pay each other. I even know like some of the companies started using the USDT on Tron to pay their employee to make the payment as well. So that's why I think this is also a very good user case in our blockchain. And then the third, of course, is the BitTorrent protocol we want to introduce. I think this will release at the end of this year. So you can see lots of the update. And also, I think this is also going to drive a lot of the traffic and attention into our industry as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you think that, well, first of all, just coming back to the developer community, how many developers work on Tron inside of the foundation or the organization?
Oh, sure. First of all, I think for foundation itself, we have 300 employees. Mm-hmm. But most of our employee is still like working on improve the protocol itself, the governance of the protocol, and also help to serve the developers to make their own development. So for example, we have a very active Discord group. So the Discord group is all for the Tron development. And also we have more than 3,000 developers working on Tron right now. For example, our Discord group, we have thousands of the developers, and in different language. You have like Chinese, English, Japanese, Korean, Turkish, lots of other language as well. And also even in China, we have a WeChat group. We have 500 people group. It's also dedicated developers working on the Tron protocol as well. So so that's why I think right now, even though we are in a bearish market, but the Tron development and the developer community is still stay very strong.
Do you see people moving? I mean, basically the Solidity contracts work more or less in the Tron environment, right? So do you see a lot of people moving from Ethereum to Tron? And do you have kind of real world examples of that now?
Yeah, totally. I want to introduce two cases. First of the case, like right now, before is the largest developers on the EOS. They develop EOS Knight. It's a very popular EOS game. So they migrate to Tron blockchain to develop like a new game called Night Story. So they will release very soon. And also one of the largest Ethereum developer called Formal 3D. So they create like at that time very good Ethereum formal game actually on the Ethereum blockchain. They also migrate to Tron, and they will release a new version of the Tron game very soon. So I think this is just like two examples, like Ethereum and EOS biggest developer migrate to Tron. But definitely we have more developers migrate to Tron as well. So because these days I know Ethereum is more migrate to develop DeFi rather than DApp in the future. So that's why I think we embrace the DApp industry still. So we have lots of developers right now is working like actively on Tron blockchain to develop lots of the interesting game. And for the DeFi, actually, we also have some updates. First of all is the USDT Tron. Of course, we have $8 million right now running on Tron blockchain. And also we have like a Tron version of the MakerDAO will be also introduced at the end of the year. So we will also have these two different kind of the stable coin. One is like USDT. So you have like a real currency, US dollar currency as a reserve. And also, of course, like a MakerDAO, you have the cryptocurrency as a reserve and issue the stable coin. So we will have these two stable coin at the end of this year.
Do you find that the exchanges are willing to provide liquidity options for Tron-based coins like a Tron DAI or Tron, Tether, or is that an uphill battle for you guys?
Yeah, sure. So this is definitely one of the biggest important things we are doing right now. So in the August, we collaborate with Huobi, Binance, Bitfinex, Poloniex on the Tron, USDT Tron. So that's why we drive a lot of the attention and the user case on the Tron blockchain. And also at this month, we will collaborate with OKEX, Bitfinex, and other exchange as well. So to further like drive the user case of the USDT Tron. I think at the end of this year, we are expected to have like over $1 billion issue on Tron blockchain. And also for the DAI, of course, it's the same. So after we introduce at the end of this year, we will try to make this stable coin available in all the major exchanges as well.
Yep. What do you think about the future of banking as it relates to crypto? Do you think that crypto has an important place in the future of retail banking, or do you see it as kind of its own thing, separate from the rest of banking?
Oh, sure. Even though lots of the people is pessimistic about the banking and the crypto world, like they join together, but actually I feels like actually we have like several like a good user case actually in our industry. For example, like Silvergate like recently go IPO in United States. And Silvergate actually is famous for serving the OTC desk and lots of the trading platform. I think this is actually a very good news in our industry because before that I have get into the crypto industry since 2012. At that time, a lot of the people, if they want to become like the banking channel for the crypto exchange or OTC desk, they will get arrested or even charged for like money laundering at that time. Like lots of the people provide the channels for the empty gox got arrested, and at the early days like Bitfinex, their banking channel also get shut down lots of the time. So this is the first time I think we have like a very legit bank start to provide the services for the blockchain industry, and also of course, as you know, like recently, Fidelity and also other like very big, large institutions start to getting ready for their trading exchange business or the custodian business as well. So that's why I'm optimistic about like the banking and the crypto world. Even I believe still the crypto world itself, they will have their own ecosystem, right? So like crypto, always crypto to crypto. But I definitely see the trend. Actually, the banking also is try to embrace the blockchain.
Yep. What was the original attraction for you in the first place to get into this crazy crypto world?
Yeah, sure. It's around 2012. I just read an article in the New York Times about blockchain. And at that time, there's no blockchain. There only Bitcoin. So I read an article about Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin is very cool because in the article they give like an example is before the Bitcoin, if you pass the custom, if you want to pass the custom, there is a dog, a sniff, like trying to get you arrested if you bring like more cash in your bags, right? So actually, the blockchain is and the Bitcoin is the first use case. you can bring like no matter like how much of the money just in your UBS or just in like a files with the secret key, right? You can't even get to know by the customs. Actually, you are bringing a lot of the money
Sure.
with yourself.
They call it what did they call it? The brain key, where you basically memorize.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody can steal your money, right? Because
Right,
or
exactly. This is in the 2012. At that time when I read the newspaper, I think this is the in the human history, this is the first time you can fully own your assets actually without like robbed by anybody.
So what did you do? You read this article. What did you do? You bought some Bitcoin. What happened next?
Oh yeah, sure. I bought lots of the Bitcoin at the time after I read the article. Even though at that time I was just like a college student, actually I don't have lots of the money. And then I start to trying to join like a Bitcoin company to see I can find a job, because the day I find out the Bitcoin is the same day because I graduate in 2013, so it's the same time I need to graduate, like find a job. At that time, before I find out, I was have two choices. Even like join in investment banking, because I graduate from UPenn. So UPenn is famous for go to the consulting firm and the investment banking firm. And also the second thing is I may apply for the law school. So I study LSAT. But actually, read this article changed my life entirely, because I know the Bitcoin has a bright future. And at that time, there is a conference called Money 2020, and then they said like in the day of like 2020, like everybody gonna stop like using fiat, change to like a Bitcoin, right? So even though I mean next year is 2020, we definitely didn't see like people change to use Bitcoin. But
so what was the first? Did you have what was your first job related to crypto then?
oh yeah, so that's when I find out the job opportunity in Ripple. So that's why I joined like a Ripple and joined a company in California. So that's how I get to the crypto industry. So I buy the Bitcoin and then find my first job in the blockchain world. So yeah.
So that was working with Chris back at the beginning of the
Yeah,
Ripple days?
exactly. I work very closely with Chris Larson in 2014 and 2015. So I think this is also helped me a lot on building my career, and also know a lot of the people in this industry.
Gotcha. So what gave you the idea for Tron? Was this while you were at Ripple?
Oh yeah, sure, totally. So when I joined the Ripple, because the Ripple is doing more like enterprise business or like a banking blockchain. So I actually put lots of the efforts on finding the banks to see if they are willing to use like a blockchain. At that time, it's like Ripple XRP as one of the solution to accelerate the banking system. And also the same time, I find out there's actually a lot of the demands on the user demands on the blockchain. So that's why first when the Ethereum comes out in 2015, I think Ethereum actually a good opportunity for like serving the individual developer or the small enterprise or the consumer blockchain. So that's why I believe the consumer blockchain actually have like a bigger chance actually in our industry. So that's why I left the company to start like a Tron facing on the consumer blockchain. I think first of all, we have the bright future also on enterprise as well. But as you know, like the first industry at that time to first adopt it, the internet is still is the consumer, right? Rather than like be the enterprise like IBM or other companies. So that's why I think if we believe the blockchain is the same as internet, we will be at the early stage. We need to focus more on the consumer rather than the enterprise. So that's one of the reason why I started a consumer facing blockchain as branded Tron, right?
Yeah. So now it's what, almost 7-8 years since you read this Times article.
Yeah.
If you could snap your fingers and have one thing magically happen in our cryptocurrency world, what would that one thing be?
I wish.
What would you change?
Yeah. So I wish like some days like so basically for example from my perspective I wish like one day like all the computer and phone and also other device they can all embedded with blockchain, so they can very easier to interact with each other. So that's also the reason why we started Tron in the first place. We want to build the infrastructure for the financing infrastructure for the for all the like the device in the world. So that's also the why I name after the blockchain is Tron. So Tron is the first like virtual world actually
Mhm.
introduced by the movie, even before the Matrix. So I want blockchain to be the infrastructure, a finance infrastructure for the virtual world. So like every in the future, maybe like after like 100 years later, like there is no even reality exists, right? Everybody is on the virtual world, just like Matrix, right? At that time, the people in the virtual world, they will use the blockchain as the like their payment channel, and also the way how they run the finance services.
So maybe after the singularity, we all have
Yeah, exactly.
a chip embedded with cellular IoT connectivity and a blockchain, and
Yeah, and
just
you can upload your
go
money.
like this and throw money at each other virtually, and it will land in my head and be recorded on the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's maybe we get a little more realistic, I guess, for the next year or so.
Yeah.
So what do you think is, or what do you think will be the most important developments in crypto for the next 6 to 12 months?
First of all, I think from our side, I think the still I believe the BitTorrent will be a very large like user case or adoption of the blockchain. I think this is very promising, and also will introduce a lot of the users into our industry. And also, I think the next 6 months the change. Also, I think the Samsung will be a very good example. Because next year in Seoul, we will have like a Nitron Summit. We will introduce the Samsung join our summit as well. Samsung will release a new blockchain phone on the our Nitron Summit as well. So I will show like one of the new Samsung phone with blockchain inside of Samsung phone. So this time they released the Fold phone, Galaxy Fold. And also the next year in the March at the end of the February, they will release a new blockchain phone. So that's why I think after the phone manufacturer provide this kind of infrastructure for the developers, we will see lots of very large game developers start to use blockchain, which I think this is also very fascinating. And also, of course, we will see like Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, and OnePlus and other Android phone manufacturer start to embrace, or even Apple start to embrace the blockchain. That's why I think after this kind of the infrastructure built for the blockchain, we will see lots of the changes happens in our industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, we track hundreds of tokens at Abra,
Yeah.
both kind of ICO oriented tokens, obviously the most important protocol tokens
Yeah.
that we consider you part of. Do you foresee a future where there's thousands of tokens running on your chain, or on your protocol, or do you see like most of them go away? I mean, what do you think happens there?
Yeah, sure, totally. First of all, I'm a huge believer of the tokens. I think in the futures, there are gonna be like millions or even tens of the millions the token will issue on the blockchain. The reason is very simple. I can just give you an example. For right now, like Samsung built the blockchain already, right? And in the next 6 months, lots of the game developers, they will start to build on Samsung, and they will issue their token definitely on the blockchain. The token will be like very easy token, like just like these days we play like for example like player unknown, right? And also other lots of the game, like all the games on the Apple Store, Samsung Store, Google Play. Each game will all have their own tokens, so you can feel free to exchange on the blockchain to trade them just from the trading engine inside of the games. You can feel free to trade the token, earn the token. So that's why I think every game should have their own tokens, and you can make free to trade. So even like every games you can have, for example, like 2 tokens, 3 tokens, right? So these days, like every game, they have like diamonds, they have coins, they have golden coins, right? They already have different kind of tokens. So right now, like there is already like over 1 million games like available in the industry. Imagine like every games have their own tokens. That's why I think we are like facing an era we will have lots of the tokens actually issue on the blockchain. So those token is all utility token. It's all used to buy the stuff in the games or kill the monster, earn the token. So that's why I think we will see a lot of the tokens issue on the blockchain. And remember the last time why the 2017 we have a bull market. The biggest reason is Ethereum actually opened a gate for everybody to issue tokens. Before that, there is only like Ripple, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and also issue like a token is very hard actually, right? Even at that time it's very simple actually. If you call like several developers, they can easier fork the Bitcoin data, right? It's how Litecoin come into place in the first place. Just change some features in the Bitcoin, and you can make Litecoin. But still, the threshold is too high, compared to the Ethereum. So Ethereum, when they have the ERC20 standards, you can easier to issue tokens, right? So we start to facing like a big bull market. I think the third wave is still like the same, but the reason is different. So the second wave is because people want to raise money, use the token. So they create the Ethereum and these kind of the bull markets. I think the third wave is more like lots of the games and other developers start to issue the token on the blockchain, because this is easier for them to communicate each other and easier for them to make settlement inside of the computer. Because if you introduce the blockchain into the ecosystem, you don't need to have any collaborate with PayPal or any other Apple Pay and other payment channel anymore. You can just do the settlement inside of the game. That's I think is very revolutionary. Actually, lots of people haven't thinking about this. You can actually do the settlement inside of the blockchain, inside of the game. You don't need to go out of the game anymore, right? You can sell, turn to fiat, right? Turn to USDT, turn to other tokens, and then you can feel free to sell the token, earn money. So that's why I think if the millions of the games start to issue tokens on the blockchain, it's definitely gonna bring like a huge bull markets in the future.
But like gaming is almost showing us the future of banking.
Yeah, exactly.
An economy, right?
And the game is also a virtual world. When you play all those games, you are like a 100% inside of the games, right? So actually, the blockchain provide the infrastructure for those virtual games to make settlement inside of their games without like going to other pages, or without like going to like other place to change for the token. I don't know if you know, like at that time you know a lot of the very popular games LOL and other games. They also have those like golden miners, so you can you can exchange your gold for money. But it's very hard for you to do that. You need to be you because all the like Steam and other platform is shut down those channels. You need to like go to like a very another website, right? You need to
Yep.
post it your accounts, and also and because the Steam shut down all the channels, and if they find out you trade tokens, they're gonna shut down your account. You know, it's very hard for people to trade their assets or their earnings in the games. But eventually, I think with the Samsung and also developers start to support the blockchain, you can easier to make the settlement inside of the game. So that's I think it's definitely gonna bring a huge traffic and a huge like a massive understanding of how blockchain means. I mean, for the whole industry.
Yeah, well, we can hear how excited you get when we talk about the token economy as it relates to gaming.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's personally very, very interesting for you as somebody who's been looking at peer-to-peer networks like BitTorrent for since you could. That's been an interesting topic for me pre-Bitcoin. I'm really fascinated about how crypto and file sharing networks and gaming, it's all kind of coming together now, and kind of this rebirth of decentralization, which was the whole point of the internet.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I'm really hoping that we can get back to that as opposed to these kind of big.
And also, I think it's a very before the blockchain was introduced, there is also a very sad facts. Is even though the internet is free, but lots of the regulators or the lots of the people outside of internet, if they want to try to control the internet or strangle the internet, they has a very good solution. It's just become block the fiat on ramp. You can kill the internet. You know, if you like make like a website, but nobody can pay for the website, or nobody can pay the money to the website gonna die, right? Because you don't have the money to sustain the website. The game is the same. So if the game they can't receive the money from like Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or other like payment channels, it's gonna kill the game. So that's why all those regulators, they can easier to impose their orders on those internet creators. Because if you didn't listen to me, I'm gonna shut down all the like a fiat on ramp for you. You know, I can close your business very easy. But after the blockchain is all changed, because imagine all the games website they can settle on their own. With all the tokens, Bitcoin, and other blockchain in the world. There's actually, I mean, free the internet entirely. They can just depends on their own. They don't need to like listen to like any authority like anymore, because they can they have like a self-sustained business model, right? Just on their own, use the blockchain.
Yep. So I love your enthusiasm. If people want to follow you and or find out more about your work, what's the best way to do that?
My Twitter account, so Justin Tron. It's very easy.
Fantastic. So Justin, we're really excited about the Tron project. We support Tron inside the Abra wallet now. People can deposit, withdraw. They can buy in dollars, or they can buy in Asia and other currencies. So on behalf of the community, thank you very much for your efforts in building such a really cool project. And we love the way you brought BitTorrent and Tron together, and we're really excited to see what comes of this over the next several years. We know this is not a one-inning game, as we say in the U.S. It's a multi-inning game, and I think we're in inning one. Yeah. And you people like yourself are the reasons why we have this really vibrant ecosystem now. So thank you for your efforts, and we look forward to supporting you guys at Abra and seeing what comes next.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, hey, we'll stop there. This has been one of my favorite episodes, I think, to date. Thank you so much, Justin from Tron. Can't wait to get this out there. So we'll call it a day. And this is a wrap for another episode of Abra's Money 3.0. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks again for listening to the Money 3.0 show. We hope you liked this episode as much as we did. If so, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to download the Abra app wherever you get your apps.